Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Moody Reader podcast. This is the first time that you are seeing my face as we do this podcast. If you are new here, hello, and welcome. This is a podcast where I talk all about books and my current mood reads, what I have finished, and what I absolutely could not even slog through. And the Moody Reader is twofold. I am a mood reader, so I try not to do TBRs. Sometimes it has to happen, but most of the time it's like, no way, Jose. And then the other part of it is that I tend to be very emotional, and while I am reading these books, I have all the feelings. And so we talk about all the feelings. And today we are talking about a book that I recently finished, which was a mystery thriller. And we're talking about the books, plural, that I have started and I'm really excited for. So that's going to be fun to talk about. And then we're also going to talk about books that I bought at a library book sale. And that is unusual for me because I'm not a library girly. Not really. I tend to avoid the library, not because I have anything wrong with the idea of, the library system. I really enjoy, in fact, I used to love going to the library as a child. When I got my library card at the age of 6, that was when my reading journey truly began, because I didn't have to, rely upon my parents to say, okay, we can afford this book this week. And we weren't like, we were middle class and all that, but it wasn't like, hey, you can just buy whatever books you want from the bookstore. Life doesn't happen like that. So I got my library card, and then they told me you can check out 15 books at a time. So you know what I did? I checked out 15 books at a time when I was like 6 or 7. And did I read them all? No, not at all. But I tried. And the only time that it got iffy for me at the library was, in fact, when I found substances in them. It hasn't been great for me in that respect. And then I also heard I heard a horror story from my sister, who said that one of her friends had found a strip of bacon in their book. Bacon! No. So I kind of got a little bit eked out by that, but I don't know what it is about a library book sale. Even though they are library books, they have been touched by many hands, but I still am capable of buying them. Like, of course I'm going to look through them and make sure they're not too raggedy. And also, I don't know why I bought these books. There's 2 books in this haul that have that library, like cellophane, no, plastic. That library plastic on it. And I don't know why I bought them, but I did. So, but they were all discounted. It was $3 for what? For hardbacks, and $2 for paperbacks. So I said, that's a steal. I'm a frugal Franny, and I will participate. And because I have been killing it with the buy a book and then read the book game, I think I'm okay to get these books. I approve. So, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody has had a great weekend. This is going up on the Monday again because I'm trying to get back on the ball. And adding in this video element is more fun visually for me. I know the background's kind of trashy, but it's working, I think. And I'm getting texts from my job. Oops. But let's go back to the topic at hand. So, so how's everybody doing? I might be going out and about tonight. I don't know if it's going to happen though. It's currently raining, it's gloomy, and I really don't feel like putting on clothes other than what I'm currently wearing. And is there anyone else, when you have like a night out, it's really hard to get back into the swing of it the next day. Is it just me? I feel like that is what keeps me from being a social butterfly, is just knowing that you don't get an extra day to recoup, and then you got to get back into the swing of things. So that's what my plans are for this filming/recording night. What are your plans for the weekend? What do you do on the weekends? Let me know. I'd love to know. So let's talk about some books, shall we? I think we've, shot the breeze enough. So we will go with what I am currently reading first, because I want to have a little bit of time to discuss my book that I actually read this past week. And so the first book that I started was The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. And that book I don't actually own. I'm reading it via audiobook from the library. And I was going to pick it up when I went to the library today, but they didn't have it, and I thought that they did. It was a whole big kerfluffle, and I really wanted to pick it up because I actually got about 40 or 50% in reading the book in like one day, but I found that I was not actively listening or participating, and then I didn't know what was happening. Like, I knew it was happening, but not really. So we're going to go with the actual description of what this book is about. And this is funny because I'm only reading this because I recently started listening to a podcast called You Might Hate This Book. And that podcast is by these two best friends, Hannah and Stephanie. And they love reading, but they have very different reading taste. And they know usually that when they read a book, or when one loves a book, that the other person will probably hate it. And so they started a podcast talking about those books. And basically the premise is each week they take a book that one person has loved and they make the other person read the book. And they go into it knowing the person might hate it, but they're like, on the off chance that you do, we'll have something else in common and we'll be able to have a good conversation. And then if they do hate the book, then they get to have a laugh. And it's fun. I like that podcast a lot. And I love that there is like the ability to have a chat and not get too heated, because a lot of times, especially in like the book sphere, there's a lot of people who, if you disagree or if you say you don't like a book, it's like you told them you don't like their mother, or you told them their baby is ugly. It's a little much, if you ask me. So I think we've gotten really sensitive as a people as of late. And I don't mean like, wider areas of life, but like it's books. If I don't like your book, or if I don't like the book you love, that doesn't mean I think you're a terrible person. That means it didn't work for me. And vice versa. If you hate a book that I love, I will not take it personally. I don't think. So their podcast is great because not only are they talking about books that they might not like, but they also, at the end of the episodes, they read 1-star reviews, which I think is hilarious. I love looking at 1-star reviews because when somebody hates a book and they write a review of it, it's usually so funny. They're usually the best writers of like comedic and like, not satire, but just sarcastic, and like, it's just so funny when you read a 1-star review. So I highly recommend going and reading 1-star reviews of your least favorite or favorite books. That's also a good time. So yes, their podcast, You Might Hate This Book. I have been enjoying that one. And I will say that it does have spoilers. So if you don't want to listen to a spoiler of that book, you might want to not, continue on and read that one or listen to that episode. But we are going to talk about The Sundown Motel, which is the book that I am currently reading. And this book is about it's a two timelines. And they're both in the same place. And one timeline is 1982, following this girl named, what is her name? Her name is Vivian. Her name's Vivian, and she is working in this place, the Sundown Motel. She's basically started her life over in Fell, New York, and she works the night desk. So that's something I would never would I ever work the night shift. No, as a woman? Right. So, no. But she works the night shift at the desk because she's trying to pay for her move to New York. And during the process of this, she finds that there's a lot of customers, a lot of different personalities, and some stuff goes down. And there are some deaths that have happened and a couple of spooky ghosts. And then Vivian disappears. No one knows where she went. She pulls a Cotton Eye Joe. Where did she come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? And then you go to fast forward to 2017, and you have her niece, Carly, who is on the scene, and she just really wants to know what happened to Aunt Viv. Why does no one talk about her? Why has no one looked into her? What happened? I want to know. So that is the premise for the Sundown Motel. And I will say that I'm enjoying it. I think I would enjoy it more if I had it physically to read, because there's just like I said, there were a lot of characters in the first time I read through it that I just didn't get. And then I was like, wait, there's a new character here? What happened? So I would love to read it physically. Can't right now. And I will say that it's very much so giving me The Shining by Stephen King vibes. And yeah, we'll see if I start to have any more feelings about it. My mood for this one is basically like so-so. It's like not feeling it, but it's not going to make any favorites lists. I'm really just reading this so that I can listen to the You Might Hate This Book podcast episode about this one, because I don't want spoilers before this one. So that is one I'm currently reading. And then the other one I'm currently reading is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. And this is that book that is basically about the city of Elantris, which was like a utopia at one point, and it was called the City of the Gods. And once upon a time, the people that lived there, they had like silvery white hair, and they could fly, and they had magic and all of this stuff. But then, and it was supposed to last an eternity, but the plot twist is eternity ended 10 years ago. And now it's just this place of ruin with this sludge and slime, and it really is a dystopia in essence. And to get to Elantris, you at first would have to be like, it would just happen one day. You would be like picked by some unforeseen or some unseen essence, and it would basically, catapult you into like godhood. But now that it's not this utopia, now you just wake up one day and you basically look like you belong in Elantris, if you know what I mean. You don't look so great. You don't look so hot. And then you just end up there, and you're just there for 10 years, not 10 years, you're there for eternity. And when I first read the back of this book, I was not like super enthused, because it was very vague. It's very vague on the back of this book. You don't really know what's happening. But then when I dove into it, and I'm about 92, 93 pages in right now, you have the main character, essentially, whose name is, what is his name? Rowden? Okay. Brandon Sanderson, you need to fix your characters' names. I know it's fantasy. I know it's fantastical, but I need to know how to pronounce these. And also, what's funny is that I think this is Brandon Sanderson's first published work. And obviously he wrote a bunch of books before. He wrote a bunch of books before this one. And I think he wrote like 20 or something, and they didn't get published. And then he wrote this one, and it did. And I think people don't love this one because it is his first work. And they're like, and every like debut is like essentially, not every debut, but most debuts are they're a little rocky. Like it's your first go round, essentially. But I'm really enjoying this one. I find that I love Brandon Sanderson's older works. His newer stuff, not so much my jam right now, but I really like what he did in his early days. And so we're following Rowden, who has, and this will be like mild spoilers, but like I said, I'm under 100 pages in this one. It's okay. But you're following Rowden, and he has woken up, and bam, he's supposed to go to Elantris, and then he ends up there, and you basically see that he like stubs his toe, and he feels it like a lot, because apparently, because you are not dead, you're gonna live for eternity, but you're not in this wonderful place. They don't have a heartbeat. They don't age. Like I said, they don't die, but they feel all of those like human things. Like any pain you'll feel for, I don't know how long, but you'll feel it. So he's like, I stubbed my toe, but usually it would go away by now, and it hasn't, and I feel awful. Or the hunger. They have an extreme hunger that doesn't feel human, but just feels like an ache inside themselves. And so yes, he is there, and he has found this person who is willing to help him if he gives him his food, because when you enter Elantris, you have like this basket of like, some withered veggies and like some bread, and that's about it. And that's, all right, go forth, my friends. And so you're following him, and then you're also following Serene. I think that's how you say her name. I wouldn't know. Brandon Sanderson, correct me in the comments. But you have Serene, and she is coming from a neighboring country, essentially, because she is betrothed to Rowden, but Rowden is dead, quote unquote. And because of the contract that she signed, essentially, to unify their two kingdoms, even if one of the people dies, you're still married to them. So she still goes to Rowden's country. Where does he live? He lives in... Please hold. We love a map. Because she lives in Teo, but he lives in Arelon? Somewhere. No, K. He lives in K, I believe. Yeah. So she goes over there to Kay, and she's basically the princess of this place now. And then she's just, I think she's going to do some super sleuthing, I think. That sounds kind of right. I am early days in this one, but I'm really enjoying it. Oh, and then there's also this like Hrathen dude who's like this super religious guy who's trying to convert everybody so that the world doesn't end. Something or other in like 3 months. I don't know. All I know is I'm excited for it. I'm here for it. So that is the book that I am reading currently. My mood for that one is such excitement. I am just like fantasy. I really want to be a fantasy girly. I've said this before. If I could, I would only read fantasy if I could take it in and know everything there is to know about all those worlds. I feel like you can only read a couple of fantasies each decade because there's just a lot of like the magic systems and then the politics and then the people that live in it and the names, and it's just a lot to take in. So I really think that this is my decade for Brandon Sanderson's work and nothing else, like essentially. Unless it's like a YA fantasy, because those tend to be a little bit easier to get in and out of. But with Brandon Sandy, he has a chokehold on you. So, yes, that is what I'm reading. I'm enjoying it, and I'll actually be trying to take some little annotations as I do it. So, let's talk about the book that I finished this past week and really enjoyed. And it just, I don't know, it's such a simple book, but it's still, like, I still think about it a little bit. Like, the plot twists and how it ended, Okay, and I might be spoiling a couple of things. If I do, sorry. you've been warned. We're talking about The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This is a book that I bought last week and then read in a couple of days, and now I have justified purchasing it. So that's great. And it's also great because I had been like iffy on Peter Swanson because I had read his book, 8 Perfect Murders, and I loved it, but I don't have that one currently. And I also read Every Value Break, which was not quite so great. That one started off great, but then ended kind of stupid. For me, Peter Swanson's books, he's great at the atmosphere of a mystery thriller. He's great with that. So I was excited about this one because this one also was recommended to me by my good friend Joanne. We're besties. Joanne hit me up, who works at my local indie bookstore. And when I walked in, she goes, "Can I recommend you a book?" And I go, "Yes." And so she walks me around and she just starts recommending books to me. And I was there for it. I then felt bad when I did not buy a book and I had to walk past her on the way out. It was awkward. But life is full of those awkward moments. That's what makes life grand. So I took a note of what she had on her shelf, and I picked up Every Value Break. And this one is about, well, we're going to read off the description on the back, and then we're going to talk in depth. Shall we? We shall. On a flight from London to Boston, Ted Severson meets the stunning Lily Kintner. Over martinis, the strangers play a game in which they reveal intimate details about themselves. Ted talks about his wife, Miranda, how their marriage has gone stale, how a week ago he caught her in a stunning betrayal. But what begins as playful banter between Ted and Lily takes a swift turn when Ted claims, half seriously, that he would like to kill his wife. Then, Lily surprises him by saying that she'd like to help. Back in Boston, Ted and Lily forge an unusual bond and talk about the ways Ted can get out of his marriage. But Lily has her own dark history she's not sharing with Ted. And Ted is keeping something from Lily too. But as Ted begins to fall in love with Lily, he grows anxious about any holes in their scheme that could give them away. And suddenly, the two are pulled into a very lethal game of cat and mouse, one in which both are not likely to survive when all is said and done. Good, right? Like, they meet in an airport terminal. They plot murder. And they keep seeing each other. It's so good. So I really enjoyed this book. Like, in general, I enjoyed this book. But it really takes off in part 2, which is about, let's see, about 140 pages in. This book is pretty short. It's just over 300 pages, so it's very easy to get through. You fly through it. And this is a book I would take on like a summer vacation and just read it on the beach. It's so easy to read. And this book alternates from many perspectives. One of them being, of course, Ted, who is plotting to kill his wife because, he's just really upset that his wife has gone and stepped out on him. And you know what? We need to pour one out for Ted. I wish I had a drink with me, but I'm about to drink maybe later tonight, and I don't want to be sloppy. I would pour one out for Ted because he really just wanted to have a good wife, a good marriage. He just wanted to have a nice, normal marriage. And you go through their lives as is the present, but you also take a deep dive into their pasts and why they are the way they are, and why Ted is the way he is, because, he's just been a regular man. He's just been a regular dude who hasn't been so popular with the ladies. And so then when he finds somebody who he thinks is interested in him, and then she turns out not to be, because, he's also hella rich, so that, that helps that helps sweeten the pot for his wife, Miranda. So you have his perspective, and then you have the perspective of Lily. And Lily, I think, might be one of my favorite characters ever. And I don't know what that says about me, because she is crazy. She is sociopathic. And I will spoil this, Because obviously someone who you meet in a bar in an airport and you're like, I'd love to kill my wife. And she goes, how do I help? That's not a great woman, let me tell you. Not a great find. But you go through her backstory, and she is the daughter of these two very narcissistic people. One is an author, and the other is just this, I don't know, is she a painter? She's something. And every summer, not every summer, like, every summer they would have all of these like wastrels come to their property and just like, mooch, and they would have, some orgies, some debauchery would happen, and that obviously, affects a person. And then Chet enters the picture, and Chet is not a nice man. He's not a good boy. And he, I will say that this book is very, very, very gritty, and it's very vulgar, and it's very raw. And if you don't like any of that, steer clear of this one. It is very raw. It is very nitty gritty. You'll get all of it. And so Chet is not a nice guy, and Lily can tell. And so after some things happen, she plots for his downfall. And what I love about this character, for better or for worse, she will go around and she will, I think she will, she'll justify things. She'll think that every person she murders is justified. And then she'll go, I'm hungry. I want a snack. What should I eat? What should I make? And it's just like, done. It's done. And so, yes. So you spend the book following Lily and Ted as they keep meeting up to, plot out more details of this potential murder of Ted's wife. And at some point, the tables get turned, the turns table, and, stuff hits the fan. And then you have this, like, the first plot twist, actually the only plot twist. There's really not a lot of twists and turns in this one, which I didn't mind. And I usually need a lot of twists in my mystery thrillers. But this one was just twisty enough, and it was just the explanation of who somebody was that made me go, oh, I didn't even think about that. So that when that happened this had to be, it had to be before part 2, I think. No, it was at part 2 we get this this illumination of a certain character, and it makes you go, okay, now this is going to be a ride. And so then it does lag a little bit after the big, like, event happens at the end, or near the end, and you have like a few more, you have, I don't know, maybe 50 more pages, and you're like, okay, what's going to happen next? And then I'm like, oh, okay. And this book is actually number 1, apparently, in a series of books called, what are they called? It's the Henry Kimball and Lily Kintner series. And honestly, like, what the heck? Henry Kimball is the detective, the idiot detective that's on the scene for something that happens towards the middle of this book. And I was like, I hate this detective. He reminds me of the detective that's in Sherry Lapina's world, her universe for her mystery thrillers, or that other detective, the detective from It Must Be a Sherlock Holmes kind of a thing. I can't remember right now who it is, but anytime there's like an idiot detective, that's who Henry Kimball is. And at the end, can I spoil this? I don't know if I can spoil this. At the end, you see that something has happened, and Lily thinks she has gotten away with some things, and then you realize, oh no, what's going to happen? So that's why I'm like, okay, bet I will be purchasing the next book. I will be reading it. And what is it called? It's called The Kind Worth Saving. Let's look up real quick. Let's look that up. What does that even entail? The Kind Worth Saving. So what I can tell from The Kind Worth Saving is that it's about a different main character, but Henry Kimball is involved. So this one says, there's always something slightly dangerous about Joan. So when she turns up at a private investigator, Henry Kimball's office, asking him to investigate her husband, he can't help feeling ill at ease. Just the sight of her chills... Oh! Wait, no, sorry, never mind. Just the sight of her stirs up a chilling memory. He knew Joan in his previous life as a high school English teacher, when he was at the center of a tragedy. Now Joan needs his help in proving that her husband is cheating, but what should be a simple case of infidelity becomes much more complicated when Kimball finds 2 bodies in an uninhabited suburban home with a for sale sign out front. Suddenly, it feels like the past is repeating itself, and Henry must go back to one of the worst days of his life to uncover the truth. Is it possible that Joan knows something about that day? Something she's hidden all these years? Could there still be a killer out there? Someone who believes they have gotten away with murder? Henry is determined to find out, but as he steps closer to the truth, a murderer is getting close to him. And in this hair-raising game of cat and mouse, only one of them will survive. Okay. It was published recently, this past March, and is it? How does Lily Kintner get involved in this hullabaloo? I want to know, because I love Lily. She's crazy, but I love her. Okay. Yeah, this, going back to The Kind Worth Killing, there were some kinds worth killing. And also, this book is just so, like I said before, atmospheric. It's full of, the setting is basically like Maine and Boston and like taverns and beachside cottages, and it's just so like well set. I love it. And yeah, it's relatively fast paced, and even if I did see where things were going, I was still like, yes, I was rooting for Lily. I was rooting for her. So yeah, if you enjoy atmospheric reads, like moody, like a little bit of a cloudy film over top, you will enjoy this one. You will. And if you like a nice plot twist at the very end, you'll enjoy it as well. Yeah, I think that this one should be turned into a movie. Let me know if you agree. I think it would be great, and I think I would watch it. Because I have to say, I am tired of us redoing adaptations. There's going to be another Harry Potter on HBO. No thank you. There's going to be another Twilight, apparently. Why? Why do we need that? I don't really understand why it's so necessary to keep doing things unto death. Are we really that unoriginal? Are we? There's so many things that could be adapted. Like, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for my adaptation of the Raven cycle. I'm waiting. Okay, so after all of that, yes, like I said, really enjoyed The Kind Worth Killing, and it is one of my favorite mystery thrillers now. Let us now talk about, let's talk about the book that I have some books that I really want to read now. I'm probably going to do a whole YouTube video on my anticipated reads, but I figured I'd bring one out just for giggles, for kicks and giggles. And now this book is the sequel, because I didn't know this was happening. There's a sequel coming out for House of Salt and Sorrows, and I love that book. That book is by Erin A. Craig, who wrote that 12 Dancing Princesses retelling that was super, like, gory and horrific, and, like, it honestly did scare me because I read this one when I was home alone in the dark, and I was like, oh no, am I being haunted by these things, these grotesque things in my house? I was not, spoiler alert. But it is book number 1. Now, where's book number 2? There is a sequel. What is it called? Heck if I know. Ooh, it's called House of Roots and Ruin. Let's take a gander, shall we? because I didn't think this could ever be adapted, or not adapted. I got adaptations on my brain. I didn't think that this sequel could, y'all, I don't have words today. When do I ever? I didn't think they would do another one. So this one says, despite dreams of adventures far beyond the Salon shores, 17-year-old Verity Thomas has remained at her family's estate, Highmore, with her older sister, Camille, while their sisters are scattered across Arcania. When their sister Mercy sends word that the Duchess of Blome, wife of a celebrated botanist, is interested in having Verity paint a portrait of her son Alexander, Verity jumps at the chance, but Camille won't allow it. Forced to reveal the secret she's kept for years, Camille tells Verity the truth one day. Verity is still seeing ghosts, she just doesn't know it. Stunned, Verity flees Highmore that night and, with nowhere else to turn, makes her way to Blome. At first, she is captivated by the lush, luxurious landscape and is quickly drawn to charming, witty, and impossibly handsome Alexander Laurent. And soon, to her surprise, a romance blooms. But it's not long before Verity is plagued with nightmares, and the darker side of Blome begins to show through its sickly, sweet facade. Cute. Okay, now I don't know how that relates to the first book, because it's been a hot second since I've read that one. So, the first one, so what does that have to do with Verity? I'm not sure, because the first one is about Annalay, and what are the names of her sisters? Oh, Mercy. There's a Mercy, there's a Verity. Okay, this is the sisters. Oh, I get it. So the sisters of Annalay, the 12 dancing princes, the 12 sisters, the ones that, aren't dead, those sisters have a spin-off. Oh, I'd love to see it. I wonder if Annalay will be in it. I am intrigued. I am very intrigued. And so this one comes out when are you coming out, honey? You were coming out July 25th. Ooh, I cannot wait. So that will be interesting to read. And also, I can't wait to read Happy People. I believe it's Happy Place by Emily Henry. And this is a book that comes out in, I think, a week. It comes out it comes out on the 25th, so less than a week. So when I put this out, it'll be out in the world the next day. And so I'm not the biggest stan of Emily Henry. I really enjoy her books, but I'm not going to say that I'm, a diehard. Clearly, because I have 3 of her books, she is an auto-buy author. But I'm not like a super stan about it. But apparently this is about Harriet and Wynne. They've been the perfect couple since they met in college. They go together like salt and pepper, honey and tea, lobster and rolls. Except now, for reasons they're still not discussing, they don't. They broke up 6 months ago, and they still haven't told their best friends. Which is how they find themselves sharing the largest bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friend group's yearly getaway for the last decade. Oh, okay. Their annual respite from the world, where one vibrant blue week they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood, and soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them most. Only this year, Harriet and Wynne are lying through their teeth while trying not to notice how desperately they still want each other. Because the cottage is for sale, and this is the last week they'll all have together in this place. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, and so they'll play their parts. Harriet will be the driven surgical resident who never starts a fight, and Wynne will be the laid-back charmer who never lets the cracks show. It's a flawless plant if you look at it from a great distance and through a pair of sunscreen-smeared sunglasses. After years of being in love, how hard can it be to fake it for 1 week in front of those who know you best? Oh, okay, so fake dating, but the opposite way. Cute. I'm enjoying that synopsis or that description. I can't wait to read it. I will be buying it, so because I know I will read it soon. And I do enjoy that section where it says copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood. I'm here for that. And that part about the sunscreen. Fun fact, I can't wear sunscreen. I'm allergic to it, so I just always end up really, really tan. Although right now I'm not that tan. I'm a little pale. I'm a little jaundiced a little bit. But I usually end up really tan and or with sun poisoning. So that's always fun for me. Don't we love getting sick? Listen, okay. Has anybody else? I know someone has. I know. Because my experiences are not original. Let me know somewhere you can. How, like, tell me how you deal with sun poisoning. Do you just end up existing? Because let me tell you, I got sun poisoning. I was doing this was a show right after the Panini, and we weren't allowed to be in, like, indoor venues. So I was doing a ballet, and we had to rehearse outside in that outdoor venue. And as we were rehearsing, the sun was beating down on us very, very hard. And like, even if I had put on sunscreen, I probably would have still gotten sun poisoning. But we ended up being out there for hours and hours and hours. And I was like, oh no, I'm getting sick. I'm getting so sick. And I ended up getting sun poisoning. And then the next day, we had a show, and I tanked because I was ill. I was addled, and I was not okay. So tell me, if that ever happens to me again, how do you deal with it? Do you just fade? Do you? I'd love to know. Okay, so those are the books that I am looking forward to. And one of them I will get soon, and the other one I'll have to wait a great long time for. And to end off this episode of The Moody Reader, let's talk about the books that I moodily picked up because I thought, oh yeah, I think I might want to read that one day. So, we have a giant tote bag full of library books, or as the kids call them, library books. So I'm just going to take them out one by one, and we'll see what we have. Okay, so, this one is My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Fredrick Backman. And I love Fredrick Backman mostly for A Man Called Ove. Read that one, cried. I can't read things with old people in them. I can't. I also read Anxious People and his other one, which is called Beartown. And I really did enjoy both those books, but nothing really tops A Man Called Ove. And this one is about, oh my gosh, the girl with the dog. It's so cute, so sad. If this makes me cry, I swear I'm going to get my money back, my $2 back. So this says, Elsa is 7 years old and different. Her grandmother is 77 years old and crazy, as in standing on the balcony firing paintball guns at strangers crazy. She is also Elsa's best friend and only friend. At night, Elsa takes refuge in her grandmother's stories, in the land of Almost Awake and the kingdom of Miamas, whatever, however you say it, where everybody is different and nobody needs to be normal. Oh no! When Elsa's grandmother dies and leaves behind a series of letters apologizing to people she has wronged, Elsa's greatest adventure begins. Her grandmother's instructions lead her to an apartment building full of misfits, monsters, attack dogs, and old crones, but also to the truth about fairy tales and kingdoms, and a grandmother like no other. Oh my gosh. Oh, so Fredrick Backman is known for his, comic, tragedies. The way he tells stories, his characters aren't necessarily comedic, but the way he tells it is so, is so funny. So I can't wait to read this and see how I feel about it. And I feel like Fredrick Backman is an author for me at this point. Even though I don't really buy all his books, I haven't read all of them, but I feel like if I see them, I will pick them up. And this one seemed like it was in pretty good condition too, so I said, I will take it because it looks like no one has touched it. And, Kirkus Reviews says, firmly in league with Roald Dahl, and Neil Gaiman. Two authors I love. Bet. Love it. Okay, what's next? Next up, we have... Okay, so here's the thing. My local library had ARCs that they were just throwing away for, $2. So I picked up an uncorrected proof, so we'll see if it's, worth it, of The Passengers by John Mars. Now, I read I've read one other John Mars, and it was called The One. I don't know how many books he's written, but I read that one. Loved it. The One was that book about these people who sign up for this dating thing and they are paired with their person, and it's been causing all of this kerfluffle because people it tells you who your absolute match will be, and people have been ending relationships or like getting into other things, and it caused a lot of issues for people, and so it's like a thriller too. It was so good. I might need to read that one again in the future. And this one, so I have a book idea that I think might not happen now that I've read this synopsis, but we'll see. We'll see if I ever write this book. But this one is about just as self-driving cars are becoming the trusted, safer norm, 8 people find themselves in this terrifying situation, including a faded TV star, a pregnant young woman, an abused wife fleeing her husband, an immigrant, a husband and wife, and a suicidal man. From cameras hidden in their cars, their panic is broadcast to millions of people around the world. But the public will show their true colors when they are asked, which of these people should we save? And who should we kill first? Okay, so my book idea is nothing like this, but I digress. I can't wait to read this, and I love the way this book is so floppy. So we'll be reading soon. You can bet. You can bet your bunny. Okay, the next book that we have here, another uncorrected proof, aka an ARC, is The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. Lisa Jewell's, for me, are middle of the road thrillers. But I can't wait. I don't even know what this one is about. Let's see. It doesn't even say. It won't even tell me. What the heck? It won't even tell me what this thing is about. You want me to keep things all secretive? Well, I'm assuming it's about the night someone disappeared. Let's just see. We're going to keep it. I'm going to keep it nice and mysterious. It's probably about the night some girl disappeared. I'm just taking a guess. I'm just spitballing. A girl probably disappears. And I don't think I have this one. I don't think. If I do, that would be really tragic if I already own this one. I'm pretty sure I don't. Okay, so for the last thriller that I have that I purchased, this one is called Don't You Cry by Mary Kubica. Ooh, that's cool. If you're watching this, I just put one of the faces on my face. And it matched pretty well. So this one, it says it's in downtown Chicago. A young woman named Esther Vaughn disappears from her apartment without a trace. A haunting letter addressed to "My Dearest" is found among her possessions, leaving her friend and roommate Quinn Collins to wonder where Esther is and whether or not she's the person Quinn thought she knew. Meanwhile, in a small Michigan harbor town an hour outside Chicago, a mysterious woman appears in the quiet coffee shop where 18-year-old Alex Gallo works as a dishwasher. He is immediately drawn to her charm and beauty, but what starts as an innocent crush quickly spirals into something far more dark and sinister than he ever expected. As Quinn searches for answers about Esther, and Alex is drawn further under the stranger's spell, Master of Suspense. Mary Kubica takes readers on a taut and twisted thrill ride that builds to a stunning conclusion and shows that no matter how fast and far we run, the past always catches up with us in the end. Ooh, can't wait. I tried to read one Mary Kubica in the past, and it was the Every Last Lie, I believe, and I DNF'd it. So I don't know why I picked this one up, other than the fact that it was $3. $3, y'all. $3. You can't pass up on a steal, okay? If you do, you're crazy. Okay, and now, even crazier of myself, I picked up literally books 3 and 4 in a series of which I do not have books 1 and 2. And they are, I don't know which one comes first in this series, A Treacherous Curse and, please hold, A Dangerous Collaboration by Deanna Raybourn. I do not own A Curious Beginning because I don't know why. And fun fact is that I found A Curious Beginning in a thrift shop months ago, back when I was living in Atlanta. I found it there, and I thought, I should pick this up. And then I didn't. Like a stupid idiot. That's redundant, but I didn't, like a fool. Like a fool. If you see the book, I'm telling you, this is your sign. Pick the book up. Just do it. You won't be sorry. So, unfortunately, I didn't pick that up, but now I will, because I think I want to do a reading vlog, reading this entire series, because the Veronica Speedwell mystery series seems like it's just so fun. It seems like a historical version, and not entirely not entirely comparable to Finlay Donovan, that series, but it seems like it has the same feel of it, like almost a cozy mystery, but not quite. And so I really want to check it out. I want to read it, and I actually did read the beginning of it on via my library ebook, but I just wasn't in the mood for it then, so didn't pick it up. But I think I want to now. I don't know. I'm in the mood, and that's the whole point of this podcast / channel. When you're in the mood for something, read it, pick it up. You won't regret it. So, I think that is all I want to talk to you guys about today, I believe. I'll probably, stop recording and go, that one thing. But I'm pretty sure that's it. And I'm excited. I'm on fire for reading. I can't wait to see if I will have finished Elantris by the time I record next. And I also am excited because I have a slight TBR for May, but it's not really a TBR. You'll know when I say it. But I'm excited for May and all the things to come. And I will talk to you guys soon. Let me know if you enjoy the visual aspect of this, or if anybody's even listening or watching. If you are, thank you for doing so. And I hope that you had a great time listening to this podcast. If you made it this far, good on you. Thanks. I don't know why you'd want to listen to me chatterbox on for almost an hour. But thank you for listening. And I hope you have a great reading morning, noon, or night. And I will talk to you guys again next Moody Monday. Thanks for being patient with me. And I'll talk to you then. Bye.